He lived in digs. Indeed, he's never owned a house or a flat in his life, or even a television, come to that. He lived in digs, and he'd be at his desk at 9:30 every morning. Then at 1:30 he'd knock off, have a bit of lunch.
And he became a sort of Trollopian steam engine. He used, you know, he always has worked solidly every morning, gets up at the same time. Then there was a Campari before lunch, dear, and sometimes a bottle of Burgundy and so on, which is, you know, not on now anymore. But he was a great performer, Simon, always on time, always completely right. You never had to change a comma.
The evening was set aside for pleasure.
Well, the evening was set aside for pleasure. I think that I used to do a lot of reading between about tea time and dinner time. And I would dine quite well, very often alone, and then there would be pleasure with whatever friends happened to be in the neighbourhood.
He'd have a bottle of wine with his meal and a huge brandy to finish off with. Then he'd get a taxi to the pub where his brother and his colleagues would be, and he'd have several more drinks with them. And then he'd go home to his digs, and he'd sit and cogitate over 3 or 4 whiskies and water, or as it might be, strong beer, I think Stingo or something like that, barley wine. And he would jot down things which might be worth consideration in the morning. I remember thinking, you know, every night here's this chap who drinks the amount of drink which would put most of us in bed for a week, and yet he would be at his desk the following morning.
For a time, I became quite a considerable drunk. I never had to go off on a cure or anything like that. I just went to bed in what my brother used to call a nice alcoholic haze.